What's going on, everybody? Hope you're doing well. In this video we're going to talk about solo spice harvesting using a carrier, ornithopter, and a sandcrawler. I was out in the desert, deep desert, just scanning the grounds looking for buried treasure, and got to see the worm. He came up to say hi. What's up, buddy? Hello. He actually got close enough to make the cinematics happen. That's kind of scary. But I had a medium spice bloom go off behind me while I was doing this, and I thought to myself, you know what, back in my base in Haga, I've got a sandcrawler, and I've also got a carryall. I made both of them just for the achievements. But of course, being, a Dune player with huge dreams of hordes of spice, thought to myself, maybe I could take these out and get these doing solo. There were definitely scary moments. Yeah. And we also did have to unfortunately deal with some loss, but it's a learning process, and I'm hoping to put this video together to help you learn some of the things that I did while harvesting spice solo. So without any further ado, here we go. Before we get started, I want to go over the #1 rule for the deep desert, and that is to be smart, be aware, and stay safe. If what you're doing feels like it might be dangerous, it probably is. If it feels like it's a bad idea, it probably is. And if you don't pay attention to the world around you, the world around you is definitely going to start paying attention to you. So keep this in mind. This will keep you safe. This will bring you back home in one piece. Step 1 is going to be to build a deep desert base. This is going to be something that changes over time. Tweak it a little bit, get it to work for you. This is the one I'm currently using. I've got a large hangar built to the side for my carryall with a smaller hangar for an assault or for a scout ornithopter. I've also got a small door down here. This is for the buggy and for the sandcrawler to use, so those are my access points. Currently I'm running with 4 wind traps to generate water, which is working pretty well. I do have some other ways to get it, but 4 is doing good for me right now. I also have 4 generators on the top in order to power the base. Now, one thing I want to point out here is this outside plan, I can make changes to it. If I need to add more wind traps, I can expand the area, move some things around. The same thing with the generators. I can move those as well if I need to. But this is going to be an ever-evolving process, seeing what works for you and what doesn't. You can add extra little things, like I put these outcropping so I can look out over the desert. But the key to it is it's a growing process, and as you get better and process more, you're going to need more supplies as far as power and water, and you want to be able to make changes to that as you need to. As far as the inside goes, I like a really wide open floor plan. Just gives me room to turn around, park things, etc. Got little spots for the buggy, for the crawler. Over here is where we're processing ores, getting our plastanium, cerbidium, stuff like that. I've got 2 spice generators over there. That's the secondary power. Got a little water tank here for access, our medium chemical facility, also a large spice refinery. Over here in this section, I've got a series of desk stills, so if I need more water, then I'm able to get it. Over here with the water tanks, I got my container from bringing the base over. And as you can see, I've got the ability to expand. If I need more water storage, I've got room to put them in there. Works out really, really well. But you want to make sure that you've got the ability to expand and make changes, just in case you decide, hey, I want to go a different route, I want to do more of this, more of that. Have the ability to expand. Step 2 is going to be to practice, practice, practice. Up here in the shield wall, you're safe. People can't attack you, worms can't get up here. This is where you want to learn how to attach and deploy your sandcrawler, so that when you get out there in the desert where it potentially could be dangerous, you've got a really good sense of how it works, how you want to do it, and you don't have to worry about those confusion moments. Get used to height requirements, get used to the movement of the carryall. It's a lot different than what you're used to with assaults and with scouts. And just get an idea, because like right here is a good point. This is a good deployment height because, it's not too bad. If you're way up higher, you're in that animation for much longer. And personally, I like to park to the left of my sandcrawler when I get out in order to get spice. The reason is when you jump in here and you're at a spice field, we're going to go forward and we're going to collect the spice, and then we're going to end up going either in back, either turning around, or we'll just reverse it. And when you do, you can stop right here beside your carrier. Sometimes you get out underneath it, just jump up. But most times when you get out, you're going to be on this left side of this carrier, of the crawler, and you're looking directly at your carrier. So it's an easy transition. Sometimes you can actually get close enough to where you can get in without ever touching the ground. But you're immediately in, get just a little bit of height, switch over to the deploy, go to the side, pick up, and you're on your way. The more you practice this, the better, because things can get a little hairy out there when you're actually getting spice. For example, this deployment, she just decided, I don't know, grinding the rail. It's actually pretty impressive, but you know, it is what it is. But when you get out there in the desert and you don't have time because of worms, or maybe you're getting attacked, you don't want to be learning the process. You want to have it solid. Let me show you what happens when things do go wrong. Here I got some worm sign, but placement was good. Unfortunately, I was inside the crawler when I came out. So we come up. We come off to the side and hit that little berm, which made us land again. Move over. Nice, easy pickup. Everything was great. And then we did something stupid. We decided to long press E for some reason. I thought it was W. So we ended up jumping out, which dropped the Sandcrawler, and now we're going. And here, for some reason, I can't back up. I am trying desperately, but cannot back up. So we're going to have to spin around. And the whole time we got a worm coming, and he's going to eat our stuff. So we spin around, and cable just doesn't grab. So we're going to keep going around, and keep going around. And I don't know if it's the game in itself or if it was the fact that I long pressed E like an idiot and jumped out. But we start losing some serious controls here. I can't back up. My deployment is turning itself off and on. And you'll see here we can't. Now we got it. Nope. Okay, we got it. Nope. Okay, we got it. Let's do it one more time, right? There's the worm. And we barely got that thing off, and it's trying to deploy again. And the worm's crazy down there. We ended up just taking off, going back home. But the more you practice when it's safe, the better you'll be when it's not. Well, we've built our base and got it up and running, and we've done some practice runs. So now it's time for me to put on my big boy pants and actually head out there and get some spice. So this little section here is actually on a longer run. So I've already got some spice in the carrier, and I came across this guy here. Now this is very close to the PvP zone, right on the edge in fact. So what I'm doing now is I'm going to go ahead and work my way north just to get an idea of how close to that zone transition I am. I was hoping that I could just kind of sideswipe here and figure it out, but it seems like it's a little longer than I thought. So we're going to head north and northeast and see if we can find that zone transition line. And that's it right there. So that's a pretty good amount of space between that zone and us. So we're going to be safe. When you're playing this game, if you're in the PvP zone, meaning you have that red thing up there, and someone else does, you can attack each other. If you're red and they're not, they're still under the PvE section, they won't be able to take damage from you. So as long as we're in the PvE zone, we're going to be safe. People can still mess with you, but for the most part, we'll be all right. So we line up, and I'm going to deploy. And like I said, I like to park to the left of the crawler so that when I'm done getting a couple runs into this spice field, I'll be able to just jump right out of the crawler and get right into the carrier. You can see we do end up having to run here, but that's okay because we're going to work our way left in this field, which is going to put us closer to the carrier, so we get an easy transition at that point. One thing I've seen is the discussion on what speed you want to go. If you go full bore speed like I am here, on the edges that'll be fine, but as you get into these thicker concentration points, the vacuum's not going to collect all of the spice. You can kind of see it there in the back end of the carrier, and I'll spin around here for a second. But it doesn't collect all of it in some of the more concentrated areas, which means you're going to have to go over that stripe a second time in order to get everything. If you go half speedish, keep the kilometers per hour down around 10 or lower, the vacuum will be able to collect everything. But I gotta be honest, it's half speed, but it takes twice as long. Full speed, you have to do it twice. You're gonna end up with the same amount of time. Whether there's worm aggro difference or not, I'm not sure. I prefer to go full speed forward and then full speed backwards, just because I've got enough things to focus on, making sure the carrier's okay, looking for worm sign, making sure nobody else is lying around. The last thing I want to do is also pay attention to trying to keep my speed low. And also it's a constant tap, 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 tap on the keyboard. So just to limit the amount of things I'm doing, I'll just go full forward, full speed, one stripe forward, and then go directly backwards over the area I just did. And you can see there to the left that it does a pretty good job. The edge is still a little rough, but it does a pretty good job of collecting everything. Now I can do 2 stripes that way, full speed on a medium field, very easily, no problems, no worm aggro. You can sometimes do 3, depends on the setup you have. In this case I do have like dampened tread, so I'm getting a little bit of bonus there. But you can do 2 for sure. You can do 3 if you've got the right setup. If you try to go for 4, you're going to be summoning a worm. I prefer not to do that. I like to do a couple stripes and then take to the air, because I don't want to summon a worm. I don't want to have to rush. I don't want to put myself at risk. I'm just trying to safely get in here, get some spice, and go home. So I'll do my 3rd stripe here, which as you can see is putting me much closer to the carrier than when I initially started. That was the idea. And when we jump out of here, we're going to be on the left side, which puts us right here. You don't even actually have to touch the ground, like I said before. So we're going to lift off, not too high, move over, deploy the cables, and we're going to be hitting the space bar to go straight up. What I'm doing here is I want to get that worm aggro to disappear, just like it did. This is going to give the worm some time to calm down. It's also going to give us some time to calm down. This would be a good time to refuel if we have to. We can get some water in case we're running low. It's also a good time to look around, make sure there's nobody else about. And once we know it's clear, we'll head back down and we'll start going again.
A few moments later.
You're going to have to get used to the very short day cycles. Day and night come very quick when you're harvesting spice. So usually I'll see both. Sometimes I've been out there when the sun comes up. You can see we've got a ton of spice in here. Like I said, this was on a run that I was making where this I think was the 4th medium field that I had gotten. A few of them some people had taken some compactor shots from it, but you can see that the treads, engine, centrifuge on this are very red, and we are running really low on fuel. I came out with, I believe, 5 large fuel cells, and we've gone through all of them. I did cross the entire map in this process. But this is the tail end of it. We're still doing okay. I'm not going to refuel very much on the crawler, because once this field is done, we're going to head home. So it doesn't matter as long as it doesn't run completely out. And even if it does, it's not such a bad thing. Always favor your carrier than your crawler as far as fuel cells go, because if you run out of the crawler, you're done catching spice. If you run out in the carrier, you're stuck out in the sand. So always make sure that the carryall is the priority as far as fuel goes. And this is also why I said earlier, make sure you bring plenty of supplies. I didn't expect to be out this long and hit this many fields, but the desert was gifting me, so who am I to turn it down? But over time, you're going to end up clearing out the entire field as long as you get left alone. If somebody else comes along and decides they want to help you or start compacting sand with you, I would advise that you leave. The reason I say that is because you get an idea of how long it takes to get the carryall in the air and then to pick up the crawler and get it away from a worm. If somebody else is there, they're going to accelerate that aggro process and you've lost control of it. So if you're not by yourself, make the smarter decision and go ahead and leave that field. But we're heading away, and there we go. Here's some footage I have from me being out in the PvP zone at a large spice field. Notice that aggro. I don't know why it's happening. That's not good. So we're going to actually pull the vacuum off, and it's because of that guy right there. So we've got a worm out on patrol, which means our time here is going to be short before we got to hit the air. But we're going to let him calm down a little bit. Looks like he's good, so we'll drop the vacuum again and we're going to start. When you're doing the large fields, it's very dangerous to do by yourself. I mean, the lure of it is awesome because it's so much spice. You could fill up carriers, crawler, all those great things. But it is highly dangerous. First off, you could get attacked. I'm in a PvP zone. If you don't want to get attacked, don't go to a PvP zone. If you go to a PvP zone and someone takes some shots at you, they're not wrong, you are. But again, spice must flow. This was just a standard crawler, so don't have the dampened treads, don't have anything else. As you can see, I don't do a full swipe across here. You're going to have to just get used to when worms are going to come and how much you can get. Again, we're still doing the forward and back, and we're keeping our eyes even more so on the skies because, we are in PvP. It's us. But in the large fields, I will usually start out on the edge, not completely like I do with the mediums, just because the concentration of spice isn't as high on the fringes. But we use the same method, straightforward, get as much as we can at full speed, and then we drive straight backwards to clean up the excess that we missed. And I'm just constantly watching the skies and watching that aggro bar. This field, all these marks in it from harvesting are not from me. As you can tell, I'm very structured and thorough. We're not savages, for God's sakes. So other people do know that this field exists, which means if they filled up their crawler, they're coming back. That's one of the reasons why I'm so much on edge. And then, of course, we have this. And once we get a worm summoned, just get as close to the carrier as you can, get out, get inside the carrier, maneuver. This is what we practice when there's no worms about, so when there are worms, it's so much easier. And we're just going to initiate a pickup, and we're going to get some height. I like to get 450 to 500 meters above the field. That seems to be the safest. You can see the aggro bar went away. But over time, you'll get used to where you have to go and how high you have to go in order to evade it. Let him go away. Once the little flasher's gone, we'll get back down and start doing more. And of course, it's nighttime now. But we stayed at this field through the whole time. And what I'm looking for now is to get out of there and get up in the air just to reset some worm aggro. I'm trying not to summon him like I did last time. And we're just doing a standard pickup, and this is going to highlight another danger that can happen out here when you're solo harvesting. I had no idea that there was a storm coming. The nice weather lady didn't say a word to me. The reason she didn't is because I wasn't directly in the path of this storm, but it's very close. I faded back a little bit. As you could see, it's just barely clipping a little bit of that. Hey, more spice, cool. But in case you get a storm, try to find a rocky outcropping to land and weather it there. But yeah, storms are still a threat. So here we're back down on the field after the storm passed, and boom, we got ourselves flashing red lights. That means our crawler is completely full, so we can't harvest anymore. I'm just getting out of here. Probably could have gotten closer to the carrier, but at this point, I've had enough. It's a stressful situation, solo in a PvP large field. So we are going to fly over, pick up, and we're going to head back home. Now, as far as the map goes, I'm heading directly south. You can see on that compass that my base is a bit off to the left. And I could technically head directly to my base, but I'm not going to. The reason is heading directly south is going to give me the shortest distance to the safe zone. If you're a math fiend, think about triangles, the hypotenuse is the longest. But I'm heading dead south. I would advise you to never fill up your crawler. Because you could see that my crawler is a nice little flashing red light there, which is just basically a Dune's version of a kick me sign. Anybody flying around or coming close enough to see that will know that I now have a carrier full of spice. And what a target I am. So don't fill it completely up, get it close. We continue just heading directly south. Now we got a nice spice bloom. It's like the desert wants me to get jumped because this is a huge flare. Anybody that's flying around down there said, "Oh look, got a full medium here. Let's go take this." And what do they come across? Is me just scooting on along with a completely full carrier. Oh, more spice. That's great. There's some over there, and now we've got this guy here. So yeah, I'm in danger, but we're just going to keep heading south and make a break to the line. So yeah, don't fill up your carrier completely unless you've got friends with you and escorts that can help save you, but I would advise not. This actually added a whole lot of unnecessary stress to this situation for me, but we keep heading south. That's our goal. Keep heading south. Get to the line. I notice at some point we're going to come across, there's that bloom. If I wasn't full and I was heading home and not in the PvP section, I usually will stop and pick up a small field. I don't go after them on a normal situation, but if I've already got a bunch of spice and it's on the way home, I'll go ahead and grab it. But no, we're full. You notice now I've turned towards my base because we just crossed into the E sector. That is the PvP PvE line. So at this point, the distance isn't that much. Now we got a worm coming up. Anytime you see a worm coming up, there's two reasons. Number one, players are doing something and he's not happy about it, or there's a crashed ship near. So I scanned a little bit, and then of course I saw this crashed ship down here to my right. So I'm pretty sure that's what he's going after. Just kind of a little warning sign. You see a worm's surface, something happened. Either a ship or people. Uh-oh, people. But in this case, it was a ship. We did get a real good view of him making that go bye-byes. And now that we've crossed over into E, I feel a lot better, a lot safer. And now we're hitting the zone change. Now we're home free. So that is solo spice farming, guys. It is stressful. It's kind of exciting, but stressful. And but it is doable even as a solo. So, like I said, just follow the 3 rules and get yourself a nice little base. It's so much better to process raw materials here and bring finished product back than it is to try to bring the raws all the way to Haga. Practice, get used to how things work, how they operate. Get some affinity with it so that when you're out there in the wild, you don't have to worry about it, and then it's just a waiting game for the desert to give up the spice. Thank you very much for watching. I hope this helps, and as always, I will see you out there. So take care, everybody.